Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mental Minute with your host, me, Latoya Jordan. I'm so excited. This is our very first show of many. You'll be able to find it on Lighthouse Broadcasting Network, which is on all major streaming, Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, your Android apps, your Apple apps, we're everywhere. You will find this broadcast located on the forum on Lighthouse Broadcasting Network. So basically, I'll give you a little background of what we're doing. Each month, we will be featuring information, interviews, things like poem, creative arts on all mental illnesses. We know that mental health awareness is normally just viewed in 1 month, but we wanted to go ahead and take it a little bit further and make each and every month about mental health awareness. So this is the first of many interviews that we will be conducting. And today we have a very special guest. His name is Mr. Jasmine Roberson. He is a father of four. He is a 14-year Army veteran. He is also the owner of Elite Transportation Services LLC, which is a trucking company located in Georgia. He is also a music producer. He holds his bachelor's degree in musical production. So thank you, Mr. Jasmine Roberson, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
We really appreciate it. We appreciate you taking the time to kind of tell your story and dive deep into your struggles and your triumphs with dealing with mental illness. So let's get into it.
Let's go.
Today's topic is PTSD and depression. So let me ask you, when you hear the term PTSD, what does that mean to you?
Well, for me, it means anyone that's dealing with any type of past experience that's caused some type of trauma in their life. So that's basically what my definition of it. It could be anything. Doesn't have to be all bad, like say, for an example, somebody died in their arms or whatever. It could be anything. It could be verbal, it could be physical, it could be mental. So PTSD could be anything.
Okay, so when did you receive your diagnosis?
Officially, it was, I want to say, 2018, actually.
Okay. And how did it make you feel for someone to tell you this is what has been troubling you? There's a name now, a term put to it.
At first, it kind of bothered me a little bit because where I'm from, titles holds a lot of weight to you, especially to your name. And I never wanted a title to my name. I didn't want no type of stigma or any type of association with anything with my name. Just my name as what it is, Jasmine Roberson, that's it. But I've learned to accept some names and some titles because it's just what it is. Medically, it's just what it is. So at first I had a little struggle with it, but now I'm more accepted to it.
Mm-hmm. So are you currently in therapy?
Oh, definitely, yes. My therapy classes are normally is once a week, but it all depends. It all depends on what type of therapy I go to. Sometimes it'd be virtual, sometimes it'd be more me going into the facility and having more of a group setting type of therapy session. So yes, I am in therapy. I've been in therapy for about off and on for the past 3 years, off and on.
Okay, now being a male and a Black man at that, was that decision hard for you? You know, a lot of times there's this like kind of like stigma on therapy in Black communities. Was it difficult for you to make the decision to seek therapy?
No, not at all. Not at all. I understand that whole stigma with the Black community as far as, talking to someone. But if you really think about it, we do some form of talking anyway, whether it's with someone that we know, a loved one, or a complete stranger, somebody that you work with. We
Mhm.
always have that form of talking. But the problem that I see within our community is the fact that we think people being in our business and they can use that against us. That's where a lot of us, in my opinion, a lot of us have an issue with.
Mhm.
We don't want nobody to know that side of you, to be like, oh, well, yeah, he's certified crazy, or he has this type of problem, and they use it against them. So that's another reason why I feel like, it's always a form of talking. So it doesn't really bother me, just having that stigma or that issue. It doesn't bother me at all.
Okay, well, that's good. Um, what other kind of support do you receive besides like therapy?
Um, I would say family support. Um, the more I express to them what's going on with me, the more support I get. Um, I do still associate myself with people in the military. I have a lot of what we call battle buddies that's still serving, and they towards their last leg of their career. So I still communicate with them about it. I have friends that retire, and those are the ones I really lean on, the ones that retire because they did their time, they served their time in the military, and now they're a civilian just like me. And we all kind of adjusting, to the civilian sector of life now. So I have that support system, and I also have the VA. You know, like I mentioned earlier, we have therapy classes, whether virtual or in person. So I have some type of support.
Okay. So let me ask this. In regards to being diagnosed and now knowing what the meaning is, can you remember anywhere else in your life where PTSD may have played a part?
Mm, yeah, my childhood, definitely my childhood. Growing up in Norwalk, Connecticut, um, in the projects, Runacourt Project. Well, I won't say Runacourt Projects. They call it Runacourt Neighborhood Center, something community. That's what it is. It's been a while since I've been home, but they changed the name a lot. So growing up from growing up in the projects there as a child, we were sectioned off. We couldn't go but so many places in the projects. The only time that we really left our building is when we was going to school and we was going to the store. That was it, because the
Mhm.
neighborhood was very dangerous when I was younger, back in the 80s. You had a lot of violence, you had a lot of drug use all around us. So a lot of our parents didn't want us to expose to that. But little do they know, when they dibble and dabble into the drug life, and they bring it home, we still see it. So we pretty much don't escape it. But
Mhm.
so technically I've been having my post traumatic experiences since I was a kid.
Okay. So knowing the meaning now, do you think that were there resources then that could have helped you in the way that you're being helped now?
um I actually, yeah, I would say, yeah, there are resources there, but back then I wouldn't call it you wouldn't call it a resource when you have a friend that's going through the same struggle as you, or witnessed the same things you witnessed. We just never talked about it. We just we just felt the pain together. That's it. We never talked about it. So if we were able to communicate those emotions and what we saw and how we felt about what we saw, I think that counts as a resource. So yes, there was a resource. We just didn't know how to go about it.
Okay, so being that you went through a lot of and saw a lot of violent behavior and different things in your upbringing, do you think that it kind of prepared you for your life that you led further down the road in the Army?
Oh, definitely, yes, yes. It prepared me on a survival tactic. I know how to survive. You know, in the military, they teach you how to, watch your surroundings and to be very, very aware of the people around you and how they move. But I already knew that when I was younger. So that prepared me to better understand, human movement, human behavior, and things of that nature. So yeah, I would say it prepared me.
Now, do they provide support during your stays in the military? Like after all of the different places that you've been to and seeing so many different things, do they have people on site to talk to?
Yes, yeah, yeah, they do. We have what we call behavioral health personnel. I think they call it psychiatrists and um, doctors in that field. We have an actual build, depending on where you station at, you will have an actual building dedicated to that particular um, support. So yeah, we do have that on site, and we also um, it's not just only the behavioral health portion of it. You have chaplain assistants, the people that does with the churches and stuff. You have that, and then you also have the actual leadership, because 9 times out of 10, your leadership have been through the things that you've been through. They probably been through it more times than you, so they have that experience. But you use that to your own discretion.
Mhm. So, do you feel like that kind of support is helpful in the moment?
It's kind of hard to say because while you're being a soldier and you're wearing that uniform, I won't say brainwashed, but you're taught to think and feel a certain way.
Like
You know,
programmed, kind of.
yeah, basically, you could say that. Lack of better terms, yeah, you are programmed to be a certain way.
Mhm.
Um, so when it comes down to those type of situations and issues coming up, I'm only speaking on coming up because my time coming up was different than how it was when I became a leader. So before I became a leader, it was, you go on a sick call is what they call it. Sick call because your leg hurt, your stomach hurt. Oh, you being a P word. I'm not going to say the word, but you being soft. You're not a soldier. You're not hardcore or anything like that. But as time goes by and people start coming out speaking on the type of illness and what they're experiencing, it's calmed down a lot. So when I
Mhm.
became a leader, I've been more genuine towards soldiers that have been in situations. I brought a different type of leadership style to the Army. So it was just different for me.
Do you think mental health is taken seriously enough in the military?
In the military, I would say yes, it's taken seriously. It's just it's just not as supportive.
Mhm.
And what I mean by supportive meaning, you have some leaderships that were, that were, let me go back. When I was in, we couldn't advance in our career if we had behavioral health in our records, meaning we had spoke to a psychologist about anything. We
Mhm.
couldn't we couldn't excel in our career. We couldn't become a drill sergeant. We couldn't become an instructor. We couldn't become a recruiter or anything like that. Because those are what you call special duty assignments where you need those to excel to the higher ranks. So when I was in between the year of 2004 to 2018, you couldn't have that in your record. It was frowned upon. But
Mhm.
then one of our sergeant majors spoke on it, was like, we can't just continue to look down on people going to seek mental health counseling, because their mental is more important than anything. It's just as important as their physical body. So towards my later years of coming out of the military, they started to really, really support it.
Do you think they prepare you for what comes after the afterlife of the military?
From my experience, no. And the reason why I say no is because the way I exit the military, I was still child. I was in shock. It took me about maybe 2 years to fully let go of why I left the military or why I was forced out of the military. I didn't do anything incriminating to the point where I had to be forced out in a bad manner, or should I say dishonorable discharge. But mine was more on the administrative side. So for me personally, I had a hard time exiting out the military and seeking the proper process to get out the military, because I was a leader as well. So my thing is, if I'm a leader, I'm gonna be a leader from the beginning to the end, no matter what I got going on. And that's just what it was. I still put the job first. I still put my soldiers first. And I just put me second. I was so used to putting me second that I didn't know how to put myself first. And I still struggle with that because I have a big heart. I see people that need help, and whatever problems or whatever issues I have going on or whatever plans I have, I always put them to the side. But now it's time for me to focus on me, and I'm struggling with it. I'm struggling with it. So the military do give you process. It's a process to get out. They give you this thing called Soldier for Life, where they teach you how to write resumes and how to convert your job to the civilian sector, the things that you accomplish in the military, and put it into the civilian side of it. So they do have those outlets and those programs. It's just I couldn't fully take advantage of it because my time frame of exiting the military was 180 days. That means getting my family together. That means packing up if I'm planning on leaving the place that I'm at to go to my home of record. My home of record was North Carolina because that's where I joined at. But I was raised in Connecticut, so that's different. It was different for me on that, trying to figure out what I want to do, and then just, prepare myself. I couldn't properly prepare myself. I was still trying to figure out why. If I did everything that I was supposed to do to fight for my career, why am I still being forced out? I just didn't understand it. So for me, it wasn't enough time for me to go ahead and take advantage of those programs.
So from that and from those experiences, how did that contribute to your PTSD?
Oh, it heightened it, like through the roof, because I couldn't trust nobody. I couldn't trust nobody's information. I couldn't trust their intentions. It just made it worse for me. I went into a real deep depression. Like you said earlier, I'm a father of 4, and for the first time in a long time, I was able to have all my kids for the holidays, and all except one, my oldest son. And I couldn't react, or I couldn't give them the energy that I wanted to give them, around that time frame. And that was real. That was an eye opener for me. Once I realized that I couldn't give them what I really wanted to give them, it made me really look at things a little differently. Like, you need to get rid of this. Whatever you got going on, you need to get rid of it because the kids is going to suffer. And it took me 2 years after I got out to finally let go and move forward, live my life. I done gained a lot of weight. I was very physically fit. I love sports, love playing sports. My kids into sports. So I felt good, I felt good coming out physically fit, but I just wasn't, I couldn't keep up with it. I couldn't keep up with it. I didn't want to do anything. Attempted suicide twice and failed, obviously failed. It was just, I was in a bad place. I lost my home. Um, so now I'm starting from scratch for everything, but I don't feel bad about it. I had to go through these things in order for me to get where I'm at today. So,
What are some other struggles that you have dealing with PTSD and depression?
um, I have I had communication problems personally. Like I couldn't communicate how I feel. I couldn't express how I feel. A lot of my relationships didn't work because of it. I was just so shut off. I felt like nobody really understood what I was going through. But at the same time, I didn't know what I was going through. I never been through this type of situation before. So the struggle with communicating how I feel emotionally and what I'm thinking mentally was one of my biggest issues. And next to trust, I my mom told me when I was younger, she was like, Jazz, you're not gonna be able to save everyone. Because like I said earlier, my heart is big. I care for people, genuinely care for people. And I just found myself in a place where I didn't care anymore. I didn't think about my children. I didn't think about nothing that normally makes me happy. My music, I didn't think about none of that. I just wanted to get rid of the pain and not be here. So I couldn't communicate that to people because I didn't think that they would genuinely care, about what I'm going through. So I kept all that stuff inside, and to the point where I had to figure out a way to get it out without hurting someone or hurt myself.
Well, you definitely brought up music, and that is the next subject I would like to speak of with you because
Mhm.
knowing you, I know that music is a huge part of your life. So we are going to take a break and we will be right back for the second part of the Mental Minute.